Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. So today we'll be going through, this is actually my bass pedal board, but I play other instruments. And I kind of built it so it can handle any sound I would throw at it, because when I'm doing loops, if those of you that have been following me, if you haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button for me. Definitely would appreciate it. But, you know, when I was designing it, I had to design it for bass sounds, like those pad sounds, like strings, keyboard, sitar, vocoder, the synths, and the Enzo X. So I had to keep all that in mind, as well as the things I do with the Hog too. So excuse me. So that means I have to have a pretty versatile pedal board around. So that's enough of the bass for the moment. We're going to move on to some keyboard stuff. Of course, you know my pedal board can do bass. My name is the Bass Negus. Wouldn't make sense to have a pedal board that couldn't do bass, right? But at the same time, it is a challenge, to get those right pedals, that right combination of pedals that will serve that need that I have there. So mind you, this is the same. So let's before we even do that, let's just do some explaining here. So first off, this big gap here is where my MIDI captain sits when I'm using, normally when I'm out gigging, things like that, but it's down here on the floor right now. So that's why you can't see the MIDI captain. And underneath the board on the left side is a CME H4 MIDI Pro, and that pretty much distributes MIDI throughout my board and allows, if I want to run MIDI from there directly to my computer and control things and, set up the different MIDI pedals within the computer, I can do all that through the CME H4 MIDI Pro, which is, mounted underneath. Also, powering this is the brand new, hold on. First of all, I love this box. It's massive. I love how they put this gigantic box in here for this Canvas. This is for the Canvas Power 15, and that's powering the entire board, right? So I caught this on sale for $215 on Amazon during the Black Friday sales. So, that's an extremely amazing deal for 15 9-volt 500 milliamp outputs plus USB. So it has a USB port that has 1.5 amps on it. That is 1500 milliamps coming out of the power supply through the USB as well. So the total milliamps is 7,500 milliamps on that 15. And mind you, this thing is small enough. I put it in my pocket when I was showing. I did a live stream building this board. I showed it fits right in my pocket. It's longer, but it's really light. It has two pieces though. It does have the big adapter, but the adapter fits very well. And I like that it has the adapter separately, because I can put the power supply, it's mounted underneath here. I can put that wherever I want to put it, and I also can have the power supply come out wherever I want to. I don't have to have it come out the back. I have it come out the side here. So this entire thing, including the MIDI controller and the MIDI captain down on the floor, all that's powered by the Canvas Power 15. Normally I would have to have two one spot CS12s, and those are very heavy, and they only do they only have 9-volt outputs. So, you know, that, and they only 3,000 milliamps each. So this is like a complete upgrade, makes my board way lighter, and it allows my entire board, including the MIDI and the MIDI controller, like the CME MIDI, H4 MIDI Pro, which is underneath, and all these pedals, all 15 pedals are powered by that as well. And you hear how quiet it is. That's what I really love about it. It's even quieter than the CS12s. So, and if I wanted to expand it, I can just link it. They're linkable too. So I can just get another linkable unit. It won't come with the adapter, so it's a little cheaper. And I can run another 22, up to 22 pedals off of one power supply, one plug, which is insane. So, all right, so now that we explain how we power it, we start here at the 3 input loop there. And that's a $40 T-tone 3-way effects loop, right? So it's essentially an effects and a send 3 effects loops, 3 of those. So, you know, this is in mono. So all my mono pedals go in my 3-way effects loop here. And what that allows me to do is, I know I said I was going to put the bass down, but it's kind of hard to explain the rest of the pedal board without the bass. So let me turn some of this off here. Leave that on, that's fine. So right now I just have on the Empress compressor, the 2 ToneX pedals, and normally for my bass sound, I'm running the Mercury X. Hold on, make sure I ain't messed that up. I'm running the Mercury X as my finishing to my signal chain. So I'm running everything. Once I get to the Enzo X, I'm running stereo. So let's just go through this, but that's just the basic chain right now. Empress compressor, dual ToneX into Mercury X. So, and on the ToneX right now, I got a JHS Colorbox V2 tone model queued up, but I also have the Aguilar AG preamp queued up here too. Then I have the and that was the color box running into the Aguilar AG preamp, and this is the color box running into the Ampeg SGT. What's going on, bro? Appreciate you chiming in. Usual suspects showing up. Yeah, you one of the usual suspects now. I appreciate you always showing up. And I caught you yesterday on the live too. Appreciate the love, man. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, so and I also have individual reviews of all of these pedals plus a bunch of other ones. So if you have any of these pedals you see, I've done individual tutorials on how to get great sounds out of them. So definitely check that out. So coming out of here, just for reference, if I have all these bypass, the green, red, and blue loops, it comes straight. My bass comes in here, comes straight out of here, and goes straight into the Enzo X, essentially. So essentially all this is bypassed. All these electro-harmonics pedals, the Future Impact, MXR, this, even the Empress compressor, all that's bypassed, and it's going straight from there to the Enzo X, which right now is bypassed. And I'm running the dual ToneX ones into the Mercury X, and that's just my basic bass signal, you know, along with the addition of the Empress compressor. So that just, you know, gets you right to that bass signal, because now in this next signal chain here, I have my bass synths. So if I would like to, let's see, if I wanted to do bass synth, I can choose to use key bass, or use my bass to track with the Future Impact. So if I wanted to use my bass to track, I just hold that on and off button, go into the settings here, change it to bass, say BSS and bass, and it needs to be on this input pretty much, which instrument input you want to use. So that's just that INS just stands for instrument here. Then you got, if you turn it up to the note level, you will be able to change the parameter. So bam, it's on bass now, so it'll track bass. So now I got, you know, I'm ready for my bass sounds. I'm ready to play bass there, or I can go back into the menu here, change it to key bass. Now I got my key bass rig already set up in there to run same sounds I would be running otherwise. So I just need my MIDI controller on channel 2. You know, so, and of course you pair sounds like that with and that's just me changing the Mercury X. So, you know, you can also pair that with like the Hog 2 if you wanted to. And now you're using it like a synth, just straight up synth. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I forgot I switched it over. Thanks for reminding me to switch over the camera. Appreciate you. If there's ever any problems with stuff, guys, please let me know so I can fix it, because I want you guys to have the best, you know, viewing experience possible, you know. So if there's ever any issues with anything, please let me know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Yeah, I always love when people watch my videos, you know, take time to make them. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, man, just keep working, and you'll take some time. Nothing wrong with taking some time to get better. We all trying to get better at something. Overhead camera. Yep, got that. Got you straight. Awesome. And your 6th string coming today. Congratulations. Yeah, so you know, the Future Impact can be used as it'll track your bass and it'll track other things like, you know, keys and EWI. But if I want to use this for bass stuff, actually, I'd rather this be my heavier. Where is it? Where do I put it on here? There it is. Where is it on here? There it is. And you can actually, you know, I have the MIDI captain set up, so I always have access to this freeze gliss on here, no matter what the expression mode is. And so I have the expression pedal here as well, so I can control the filter. Right, but I can also freeze it and still have control over the filter with the expression pedal here. So I can even still, you know, do a, you know, that's the thing. A lot of these pedals have little hidden features with the MIDI that make it, if you incorporate MIDI, you get way more out of these different pedals, especially things like the Hog 2, or even when I get my Pog 3 back. Electro Harmonics, give me my Pog 3 back, hurry up. Appreciate that. I only had it for 2 days now. But it is an amazing pedal. It's just, hopefully they can fix whatever glitch that was. Hey, you know, make do whatever you got, you know. But I would definitely recommend checking out the Mercury X when you get a chance. And yes, definitely hit the like button. I appreciate all y'all showing love, hanging out with me. Make sure y'all hit that like button. It definitely helps me out. And hit the hype button. What's going on? Neo Lover 23 in the house. One of the people that's responsible for some of the things we're going over now, like the Future Impact and the MXR bass synth. You know, he made sure that y'all got those reviews in, so y'all make sure y'all give him a thank you for all the Future Impact and MXR bass synth content. So, massive help. But yeah, you also got the MXR bass synth. Speaking of it. Which one is it? Oh, it's on this one. Let's set it up. So you got to give it a little help. See, the other little trick to the MXR bass synth, a lot of people didn't like the tracking. The tracking's fine. Tracking's fine, just like with the Future Impact and the Enzo X. Tracking's fine. It's more than likely you. So with that, let me give you a few tips to help you get, better results from your tracking on these pedals. The MXR, some of the things you want to change, as soon as you get it, you want to change it to that 4-string tracking, which is a much faster tracking than the 5-string default setting. That'll change things. Then you want to also change that threshold. Let me make sure I give you all the exact parameter names. Y'all know how I am with that. Because the MXR bass synth is not going to replace like the Future Impact V4 VIP. It's just not. And it doesn't have the capabilities of being played with a keyboard or playing other synths with it either. But it is a great synth. The same way I tell you guys about any pedal. See, don't try to get it to fit some other thing. Get it and see if you can make musical sounds with it. You know what I'm saying? And if that's a yes, then you know what I'm saying, it's a good pedal and for you. And if it's not, then it's not a good pedal for you. You know what I'm saying? But you got to spend some time. You really got to realize what you don't know and what you do know. If you don't know how to work a synth, then you're going to have to spend time really learning, like investing some time learning about synths. You're not going to just be able to work the Future Impact just because you got it. You know what I'm saying? Or any other pedal. So make sure you don't shy away from the manual. Make sure you do some research. Hopefully, Future Impact. Now, I've done a ton of videos on it. It's not a ton of other videos, but I've done plenty on it where you'll be able to understand what's going on with it. So, some of the things that'll help you with the tracking on the MXR bass synth, right, are going to be, change that tracking to the 4-string. What else I had on my list? Oh, the threshold. Where is the threshold? Gate sensitivity. That'll also help you change that gate sensitivity. And I also turn that compression off, man. I don't really like that compression on there. So I pretty much turned that almost off. I don't know if I turned it all the way off, but I turned it most of the way off. Like maybe 25% left on there. But yeah, that's one of the main things. And then when it comes to your bass, you want to cut your low frequencies on your bass. So this is what my bass sounds like. Pretty much. When I'm having it tracked, right? And that's like from flat, that's me down about another 20, about halfway to all the way off. So I'm about 25%. But I really got those upper mids boosted. So then you also want to play above the 12th fret. Oh, I appreciate that, bro. Got the super chat from my man Neo Lover 23. Appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I definitely do that. Yeah. I'll definitely. You're right. I'm giving away too much. Giving away too much for the free. But so I'll actually do a MXR bass synth video on the Patreon, where just for the Patreon subscribers, and I'll actually go through how to get a bunch of different sounds that are also really usable, like the ones I have here. So, but that'll help your tracking on any octave pedal or synth just about. On the Enzo X, you want to boost your low mids though, but. Oh, this the MXR bass synth right here. Is this one, this gray one. That's what's playing, and that's running that straight to the ToneX ones from there. Well, let me see what we got here. Awesome. Yeah, I probably won't. If it goes on the Patreon, if it's just for the Patreon subscribers, it ain't never gonna go public. I can tell you guys that now, because those people are paying supporters. Like, you know, it's not nothing personal, but I can't give everything. I can't give you guys the same thing that I'm giving the people that's paying and supporting. You know, they help keep the channel going. All you guys help keep the channel going just by watching, but you know, of course, the money brings another level of support and allows me to actually buy the new pedals that come out, and you know, not just give you those biased reviews that a lot of times you're seeing, or just the fluff reviews. You know, let's not even call them biased. We just say fluff reviews. But yeah, so that's that whole signal chain. Future Impact, bass synth, MXR bass synth, Hog 2. You know, and the Hog 2, of course, you know, has 10 different octaves, envelope, filters, pitch bend, you know, octave up, octave down, step bend, you know, 1 octave, and it also has the freeze gliss and all that stuff. Yeah, and we talking about the Patreon. The Patreon starts at like $1, and then the next tier is $5. Only reason I haven't added more tiers yet is because the next tiers are going to include things like the lessons and other things like that, other perks, including all the way up to, you know, a once a month lesson with myself via video. So all that's going to be available on the Patreon. So even you can sign up, you know, you can sign up for free and it'll notify you as I'm doing stuff. You know, but I recommend, you know, supporting the channel, of course. Yeah, I wanted something for everybody on there. You know, even if you just want to support the channel, you know, it just starts at $1. You know, I didn't go crazy like $50. Figure me $50 a month to just see me. But all right, let's get back to it. So. Done plenty of stuff on the Hog 2, so we'll go ahead to the third effects loop. So remember, first loop is just the Empress compressor by itself on green, usually stays on, but I like to have a switch closer to me if I want to turn it off. Or like when I'm using the Enzo X, I don't use any compression, but when I use and when I'm tracking bass, when I'm using the MXR and the Future Impact, I use compression in front of those to help the tracking. And the Hog 2, it helps a little bit as well. But, all right, so loop 3 starts at the deep freeze, the key 9, male 9, Ravis sitar, the 256 vocoder back into the 3-way effects loop pedal. So essentially it's like it splits the pedal board up into like a bunch of mini pedal boards essentially. So when I need things, I can have them readily available. And not only that, if I have them already on, all I have to do is press one of the effects loops. So say, you know, Now, I still do have to click the individual pedals on and off at times. Say I only want to use the MXR bass synth in this 3-pedal loop here. I have to make sure that the Hog 2 and the Future Impact are off. Fortunately, those are on MIDI, so that can be done. I can bypass all my MIDI pedals with the hitting one foot switch on the MIDI captain. So that's excellent. Then, but the deep freeze, of course, is the reason why I decided to keep that on the board, because I like that auto mode. It means I don't have to use a foot pedal or anything with it. And it's already set up to give me that kind of like string type of sound. And I wouldn't even use that much glissando for real, just. Something like this, roll off the highs a bit, boost them high mids. But yeah, so that allows me to have those keyboard type sounds. So if I ever want to do that, you know, that's also an option. As well as I still have the ability to press that foot switch and just infinitely hold stuff. Then we got the Ravish sitar here. And yeah, actually, you know what, Neo, that was a great idea. I will do additional. I'm gonna go back and do some more videos on each of these individual pedals where I go deep diving into features. You know, of course, some of these pedals I've had for like 10 years, like the Ravish sitar and the V2 56 vocoder and the Hog 2. So there isn't really much I can't. It really isn't any sound that they can do I can't get to. And so, you know, they don't have, I can't create preset packs for them, unfortunately. So what I'll do is, the people that's on the Patreon already, I'll go back and I'll actually create some great presets for you guys. You know what I'm saying? So that way you'll have an actual roadmap to whatever pedals you would like to use that you see me using that don't have preset packs. So a lot of people don't sleep on a Ravish sitar. It isn't just like a sitar pedal for real. You can use it as a pad pedal. Vocal, like lead sound. So another beautiful pedal. You know, of course you want to add things like, you know, the beauty of the Mercury X You get a Mercury X, you don't need a delay pedal. You don't need any more reverb pedals. You don't need to get any filter pedals, even for bass. Like the filters that are in there, the ladder filter, the state variable filter, and and I'm talking about this pedal here. For those of you that don't know, the big blue one there. That is overdrives and distortion, preamps, compression, freeze pedal, diffusion pedal, swell. It's got a joint in there called what's that modulation? The vowel modulation. Like that's an amazing like vocal type filter in the modulation section. Then you also have, what is that joint called? What's that modulation called? Hazy. The hazy modulation is crazy in that joint. I'm not going to go over the vocoder pedal right now just because I am don't have my mic hooked up to it right now. I have it hooked up to the mixer. But, you know, this pedal chain from the Enzo X on, you know, so from here on, pretty much will work for any instrument to finish up any instrument, whether it be, you know, vocoder, any of these pad sounds you're hearing from the different pedals. So let's go and jump to it. So now that's pretty much the 3 effects loops explained. Now we get into the Enzo X, which tracks bass, sorry, that's my fault. Right, and I just got it kind of set up right now for working with the Mercury X. And I got it set right now. I don't have it really set, like the settings and everything set up for the way I like it to track. These particular settings, presets I have set up for the keyboard settings. So you know, and one thing I have the expressions pedal set up for that too. You know, and I have the expression pedal set up so I can kind of have like a sustain pedal. It really doesn't like compression. And I have it set up for a few different things with just the expression pedal. Let me see what we got here. Yes, you definitely can control all that stuff. You can stack them, you can rearrange them, You can put them in different places in the signal path. Same thing with the Enzo X. You can reorder. You have different places you can put things. But I like to use of course, the Enzo X has a wonderful, one of the best, my favorite algorithm from the Mercury X is in the Enzo X as well. So you get the prism, you get a small prism, medium prism, and a large prism. All of them sound amazing. And then you also get a full stereo delay in there. You get stereo modulations, the chorus, flanger, phaser. You get ring modulation, bit crusher in there. And you get the synths, and you get the octavers in there. So you get polyphonic synths, mono synths, and the same thing with the octavers, monophonic and polyphonic octavers. And you can also just turn those off and use it for just effects. So, let's see what we got here. And I have my preset set up in the MIDI captain. So if I wanted a envelope filter, I was using this envelope filter on the other day in a gig. This joint is so fire. This is like the best filter that I've ever used. I absolutely love it. And it's coming from the same ones on the Enzo X as on the Mercury X. So if you don't want to get into the synths and stuff, but you still want to have access to the filters, and this also has modulations in it, and it has this, hold on, you just got to hear it first. First of all, let's get a nice little tone going here. Mind you, you can set that to a LFO. It doesn't have to be an envelope filter. It can be a random filter if you set it to the sample and hold. It could be a sequence filter if you set the frequency to the sequencer. It has a 16-step sequencer in there as well. Or it can be a wah-wah pedal if you set the filter frequency to the expression pedal. So even within this one unit, you're going to get all of your like bass effects. That's why you don't see any filter pedals or any modulation pedals here, because all that for me is coming through the Enzo X. Oh, I use D'Addario Pro Stills. Actually, got some right here. Because I got to change my strings anyway. These are pretty dead. When they're brand new, they sound like piano strings. And they last pretty long, and they're not expensive. They only like $28. Sometimes I catch them for 22. Sometimes I catch them for 26. But usually around 28. But these, these ones is what I use. And I use regular light gauge. So these are some of the brightest strings you can get. And they last a good amount of time. So D'Addario Pro Stills, I recommend all the time. They don't cost a lot, and you can change them every month at that price. So, and I actually change strings every week or two, depending on how much I'm gigging, and practicing and everything else. But And it just sweet filter. It's a filter I made with a bit crusher. So this is an envelope filter and a bit crusher. So you can use just two effects at a time like that, where I'm just using the bit crusher and the filter, you know what I'm saying? And you can, any of these parameters you can assign to the different modifiers. Again, it's got two LFOs you can assign. You can do a fast LFO and a slow LFO and assign them to completely different things, or the same thing, and it'll make that same parameter, you know, interact weirdly. You know, it'll pretty much calculate the difference and makes it perform differently than them individually. But you can have that, for instance, mind you, if you want a ToneX 1 or a ToneX pedal, you want to buy one through the link in the description, you know, it helps out the channel. I always recommend the ToneX 1 pedals. But, you know, in the Mercury X, so we can really get to some of the other stuff. I know we did a lot of bass stuff, but, well, real quick, just for reference. So that's filter. So here's the chorus. This is my main bass chorus. This is coming from the Enzo X, even before we move on to the other stuff. Right, it's my bass dry with the chorus. Just a warm chorus. Super wide, full stereo. Beautiful chorus. I don't need any other chorus. That's the only chorus I need. And it also does detune if I needed to. I don't have to have it assigned to, I don't have to have it on an LFO. I can have it stagnant and just create a nice detune effect as well. Flanger. So flangers top notch, chorus top notch, And mind you, these aren't even extreme settings. These are just my normal settings. Here's the phaser. Here's just my bass without it. With it. Just the purple monster sound. That's what I love about this phaser can get crazy too. It can get super, you know. Let me get you in there. Say I wanted it to do that. Like, say I wanted it to speed up and then slow down. That's what I said. Super chewy, super, like, it's almost like a rubber band. Like, it's got a nice rubbery texture, like it adds to your sound, this particular phaser. And that's exactly what I'm looking for in a phaser. Same thing. It's similar to the MXR phaser, you know, in that way. And it's one in the Zoom MS-60B Plus. One of my favorite phasers by Zoom is the Warp phaser. And this sounds very similar, but with some additional parameters that allow me not to have it so heavy and just get a really wide range of phaser sounds. And I'm showing you guys this stuff because a lot of times, you know, we see that $600 price tag, but these are premium effects that work across other instruments. I'm gonna show you other like keys and stuff in a second. You can assign this speed. So say we wanted it to speed up like that and then slow back down. We can do that several ways. We can have that triggered by the envelope. I just want to show the flexibility. So I ain't gonna go too in depth about this stuff, but this is how easy it is to make a killing sound with this thing. So if I wanted it to go the other way, I just reverse the values here. So now it starts out slower. then speeds up. So, you know, all these different things, this is still the phaser, you know what I'm saying? And I can set that to various different things. I could, if I wanted to slow up and speed up and slow down, you know, to a rhythmic value, I could do that as well. So it's a lot of different things you can do with these units. It's not just a synth unit. This is, for bass, especially bass and synth. The modulations, the delays, the delay that's in here is really good. I mean, the delay is awesome. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't have all the extra bells and whistles. It's just a nice stereo delay. And it's also, those drives in there are really nice. I use the op amp. Op amp is one of my favorites. And it's also got twin filter in here too. What that? I could have sworn I made a. Ring modulator. And I can always have a nice bass sound in there. Like, it's not like that same sound when I run other things through it. It allows you to keep the natural characteristics. That's what I think I like the most about the effects in the Enzo X and the Mercury X. If I want them to go, the effects to go crazy, they do. But when I want to retain my nice natural bass sound, even with that crazy effect running, you never losing my bass signal, and the dry signal really is the dry signal. Like, sounds good. So. And this is just a filter and a phaser together. Oh, fun fact. Did you know that modulations and filters and reverb are all delay? All of that stuff is made from delays. Yeah, the Mercury X, we gonna go to that one in 1 second. We're gonna get there. So you got all types of synths and just crazy stuff in here, but yeah. In addition to the synths and pads and the arpeggiator, you know, the arpeggiator is crazy too. So, but even with all that stuff, it's still an amazing with the individual effects. The detail to the individual effects is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Compared to some other pedals where, you know, if I'm using them, like the reason I needed a Line 6 HX1 and a Zoom multi-stomp, you know, MS-70 CDR, is because I like the reverbs in the HX1 more than the reverbs in the MS-70 CDR Plus. But I like the modulations, the filters, and the delays in the multi-stomp MS-70 CDR Plus more. So I needed both of them. Hence, the introducing the Mercury X. So, you know, now we'll switch to some pad sounds on here, and we'll get away from just the bass. You know, and of course, the rest of my chain can be used for other things like the Hog 2. I recommend that to horn players. If you want a cheaper octave pedal, you want to get one used that really got a lot of, you know, flexibility, the Hog 2 is still like number 2, even though the Pog 3 does that even better. even though it has less octaves, you can set each you can even go in there and set different octaves. You don't have to use a fixed pitch. You can set it to different intervals rather. So let's go ahead and let's go with. So let's do this. This is running my basic preamp on the on the Mercury X, right? Because I use that as a bass preamp with the compressor link and some other options on there. So really, I can say the Mercury X, using it as a end of the signal preamp. Not even just a bass preamp, just as a compressor, and preamp with like a high pass or low pass filter, whatever you may need. It just works beautiful like that. Like even the compressors and the limiter and the, high pass filters and all that stuff are super high quality in there too, so. Just transform any sound like that. It just takes every sound from here to like a super next level. Mind you, the Mercury X has, like I said, that dynamic section has the compressor, limiter, all that stuff. You got the drives in there, which has the same as the preamp section in the Enzo X. Then you have the filters. You have a full like pre-delay section. Just think of that as the delay section, which can have full stereo settings, you know what I'm saying, completely left and right, different rhythmic values. You got 3 different types of delay in there. You got your standard delay, which is, let me see, exact name is not standard, but you got the digital delay, which is like your clean delay, which sounds exactly like what you're putting into it. Then you have your bucket brigade, which is like a lo-fi type setting. I think of it, lo-fi delay. If you want to build a lo-fi delay, that's where you start. And then you have the magnetic, which is like a tape delay. So it's giving you a nice tape warm. No problem. Thank you for stopping by, man. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. And I thank you so much for hanging out with me all this time. Thank you. Means the world to me when y'all spend time, watching my videos and watching my lives and stuff. So thank all of you guys for hanging out with me, So, yeah, the beautiful thing about the Mercury X is it absolutely works on every single, and I couldn't think of one instrument that wouldn't benefit from having the Mercury X. Like, will literally take your sound from here to there. So, and I would recommend for most people that you start with the Mercury X over the LVX, but that's just me. I think most people will benefit from starting with a Mercury X if that's going to be your, if you're not using the synths, if you don't want the synths, you know what I'm saying, and you want like super something that's really takes your sound to the next level. Of course, the Enzo X for bass, having those modulations and those filters and the synths and stuff, is awesome. For keys as well. But I can't say I can live without either one of these. The Mercury X and the Enzo X, I have a hard time recommending either one as the first one over the other one when I really start to think about it. But I think everybody would benefit from a Mercury X in their repertoire. you know, you got those 3 different type of delays in there. And not only that, the thing that makes it crazy is you can put any of the filters, the dynamic section, you know, if you wanted a freeze or a swell or diffusion, you can, or compressor or limiter, you can put all the drives, all the modulations in the feedback loop of the delay section, essentially making different types of delay. So if you put it in the feedback loop, say you put a chorus in the feedback loop, now you got a chorus delay. You know, if you put it, you know, so forth and so on. So if you wanted a chorus reverb in there, you just would put it in the post, you know, post selection. Or you can put it in the pre-tank, you know. Put it on the dry signal. So let's just go through some of the presets I got on here. It's like a little studio setting. Just like a studio reverb type thing. Just not without it. Mind you, all of these presets on the Enzo X by itself had, you know, an ambience setting, which is like the delay and reverb portion of the Enzo X, which is this one. So when I got a Mercury X, I just turned that section off. I ain't gonna lie, because it makes the Enzo X sounds, these oscillator sounds, so much more flexible. I can go with that sound with just like a usual. And I can also, because I am, let's go with dynamic horn and low-fi delay. Because I am running MIDI, I also have coming out of the pedal board is another MIDI slot going to the Yamaha motif I have across the room. So I don't have to move the keyboard over here, and I can use the actual controller that I'm going to be using. But when I want access to EP sounds or piano sounds, so now I can just have like a nice little studio sound. And I even have one of the foot switches set up so I don't have to use the sustain pedal, the expression pedal for the Enzo X, and the hold modifier for the Mercury X. I can just use it one foot switch and control all of those. Here we go. Oh, sorry. And then you got to switch the page. See what you want. Let's go to yeah, that's a good one. Let's start here. So now with one foot switch, I'm sustaining the Mercury X. I have the sustain for the motif. And I also have the expression pedal setting. So without the expression pedal, the expression pedal with the toe down, with the heel down, sounds like that. With the toe down, sounds like this. Right, it has more release and it has a little less attack to make it more pad-like. So without it, without the EP and the, so that almost like a harp type sound, but it turns brassy when you hold it. Without it, it's just straight up brass sound. Right, straight up brass sound. But with the Mercury X and the motif, and you can hear the distortion on the sound there. You can hear, turn this off real quick. This is what the Mercury X is doing. This is the ridiculous stuff you could do. Just ridiculous. Cosmic. These are all my custom settings. Stop playing with the Mercury X. ToneX ones running the JHS color box, so instead of having two color boxes, I just made a tone model with the ToneX ones, and then I run two of those. Or I could run stereo out of one, but I can't run stereo into it. So in order to run stereo in and out, I have to have two of them. But both of them is together. It's like running a stereo JHS color box. So it's a nice little feature. Modifier for the Mercury X set up for a different. I have it set up for a different foot switch on the same page as that foot switch we just demonstrated. You can use that to trigger different effects, like this chord. And again, I have the expression pedal set up like a sustain pedal for the Enzo X. So if I wanted to sound like I had a sustain pedal on that, little, you know, synth quirky keyboard type sound, or I can have it. So I can have it, or so these are little things you got to kind of set up with the. You got to know which parameters to set up. And guess who's going to know? The people that signed up on the Patreon, because that's what we going to do. I'm going to show, you know, I'm going to be creating packs, preset packs live on here, but I won't be explaining it like that, you know, what I'm doing. But on air, yeah. So I can easily set that up. So if I want to freeze the, listen to this foolishness. I call this setting, this is my custom setting from scratch. This is Negus Cosmic. I had an idea, I wanted to, this is what I imagine, like seeing a bunch of shooting stars and what's happening in space if it had sound to it. Like just random things happening at times. You can also make, you know, film score with this. So all types of things can come from the Mercury X. It just, whatever sound you're putting into it, it just makes it so much better. And you can just do so many things with it. Stop talking to me. I don't want to hit by no other reverb pedal. Unless it's going to compete with this, I don't want to hear it. What about this pedal? What about that? Listen. Just the ridiculous stuff. And that's all the Mercury X. So like one of the key things to creating a keyboard, I mean, not just a keyboard, but any flexible setup is going to be something like a Mercury X. Something, you know, on the less expensive side, something like the Zoom MS-60 CDR Plus. I definitely would recommend, you know, if you're not ready to spend $600 or you don't even know what you're doing with a $600 pedal, just get you a Zoom MS-60 CDR Plus. That'll get you in the ambient realm, and that'll get you, you know, a ton of delays, modulation, reverbs, and everything else, with the exception of amp models, distortion, and I think that's really it. But it's even got octavers in there, so, you know, you can kind of learn your way around effects, and plus you can have 6 effects at a time. It's full stereo in and out. So you can not only use it for bass or guitar, you can use it for keyboard. Like I actually have the keys, the EP running through the Spectrum filter, the Zoom MS-60 CDR Plus, the HX1, and the Source Audio Atlas compressor. So what you're hearing is like separate things here. Hear that lo-fi delay? That's coming from the MS-60 CDR Plus. delay is coming from the HX1. I mean, reverb's coming from the HX1. My favorite shimmer. So, great effects there, but look how massive the Mercury X sounds to that. See, that's a delay I built in there, and I built that whole sound around the delay sound. So the delay actually is doing most of that work. Most of the effects are being used, most of the effect blocks are being used in the feedback loop there. And it gets me that. Along with same thing here. Or if I wanted an LFO, still the Mercury X. Without it, and the sound quality is just exceptional. And it's so much movement in there, you're right. Here's Negus Crystal. To go slower. See, and I could change that with the tap tempo. See, it's almost immediate. You can't even hear it. You almost hear it immediately. crystal part, but if you it's another setting. So you got tons of options. Then you got things like this that kind of calm sounds down. Calm the sound down. Call this Negus calm. Without it, it's still that same brassy type synth. It just relaxes it. So it just like makes it changes the whole sound. See, that's excuse me. That's what I'm talking about with the Mercury X. While yes, it is a $600 reverb pedal, it's not. It's really a multi-effects unit that's centered around reverb, but can be used for a ton of different things like tonal quality changes. Like that's a complete shit. That's a complete. It almost gave it a harpsichord type texture. And if I want to mix in the dry sound, I can. Let's see what we got this mix on. Such a child. I'm supposed to be doing something else. I'm so easily distracted by sounds. I'm definitely supposed to be doing something else right now. I'm supposed to be bringing out more of the dry sound. But bringing out more of the wet. Oh, that's stupid. Oh, that's stupid. I've never ran across any reverb pedal that was this flexible. This is stupid. Where's the just stupid. This joint got so many, and some of these are the stock presets. Like, this is crazy. Got the tremolo, reverb. It's crazy. I can't think of one type of reverb I can't get with this. Told you can get detuned. And of course, any of this stuff, I can also, I have a Jam Man Solo HD here as well, so I can record with, pristine audio quality. That one of my biggest problems with the previous edition was I couldn't just take my sample. That I'm not sampling. Whatever I playing into it wasn't exactly what I needed it, the quality I needed to be to import it into a DAW, because and get the same sound quality as if I played it originally. But fortunately, with the Jam Man Solo HD, I've been able to do such a thing. So like if I record this like that, it'll sound like that as it's playing back. So just kind of testing that. So, you know, it definitely does a great job of getting that on the fly, like a studio quality recording on the fly. This is a preset, stock preset called Chain. It's crazy. That's literally all the Mercury X, with the exception of this is the Enzo X. Mercury X. That's stupid. You can get all your lo-fi, you can get vocal types. It's just. You can just get some out of this world film scoring stuff done with this. I mean, I really can't think of too much this thing really can't do. I ain't even going to hold you. Like, it ain't really too much this thing really can't do. That's what's really surprising me. Not even surprising me per se, but it's like, how? It's like, how? How? Between that and the Enzo X and just the stupid stuff, like this ring modulator, or just the ability to sustain this vocal chant with no vocals. nice soft synth, panning synth, really light you hear. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff there. So ultimately, you know, you just kind of want to, with a setup like this, I also wanted to leave space. I think nobody ever talks about that with pedal boards, like leaving space. You don't have to fill up every crevice of your pedal board. Like, and that actually, if you have, like, I wear a size 12, so that actually hinders me when I do that. Like, you know, that's one of the reasons why I decided to go with back to a bigger board, trying to use a board half this size with still, you know, the majority of these pedals. You know what I'm saying? It's when they cram together, it's like I'm always trying to tap dance around the other switches, but like if I need to get to the hold modifier, I can get to it there without worrying about hitting the male 9. And even if I need to get to this deep freeze, I don't have to worry about hitting anything else per se. Same thing with any of these like pedals I need to click often, like the MXR bass synth. If I have mine set up for this foot switch to be a freeze, so when I hold the foot switch down, it holds the note. And when same thing with the Hog 2. So the ones you see with the foot switches, buttons on them typically are things I have to press more, like my ToneX ones. I have those set up where I can press those with both feet. See, this is close enough for me to press with both feet. That means this is too close, more likely for, you know, if I wanted to use them individually, it'd make it a little tougher. But because I'm using those exactly together all the time and pressing them together, it makes it a lot easier to go bam, 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 like that, and change both ToneX ones at once. So, you know, and then like the loopers up front, even though it's the last thing in the chain besides the canvas stereo line isolator, it's still in the front because I need to get to these foot switches and stop and start and tap tempo, and this I need to use as a freeze or an expression pedal switch. Sustain, I need to take my loops in and out, you know, and I also down on the floor, like I said, have my MIDI captain, which sits right here when I'm out gigging, and I have the bottom row set up for hold modifiers and things like that, and the top row set up for expression pedals for various MIDI pedals. And the only thing I'm running on here that's MIDI, that's not MIDI that is capable of MIDI that's not on MIDI is the V256 vocoder. That has MIDI, but I'm not using it. I'm using the tracking for my bass. The Future Impact V4 VIP, the Enzo X, the Hog 2, and the Mercury X are all on MIDI. So the Enzo X, the Mercury X, and the Enzo X and the Future Impact, rather, I can control, I can actually play them with a MIDI controller, or I can play them with my bass, but all the other pedals are just preset changes or parameter changes, which are CC messages. So CC messages in MIDI are control changes, and those control parameters. Program changes or PC messages control presets changes. So just kind of keep those in mind in the back of your head if you want to get into MIDI. But yeah, and again, what's super impressive is how quiet this setup is. Seeing that I have all these pedals, even if I ran all the pedals. That's all the pedals in a loop. Dead silent. Dead silent. I think the only noise you might be hearing, the little bit of noise you're hearing, is actually from the motif. It's not from the this pedal board, which is crazy because everything on here has its own outputs. The MIDI, I put a USB hub underneath as well. So, but not for the H4 MIDI Pro, but for the Canvas Power 15. So if I want to power a few more things or charge my phone or charge my iPad and my phone at the same time, I can plug them into that USB hub that's connected to the Canvas Power 15, and it'll power that too, because I'm only using about 20%, even with all these pedals on here, which is 15 pedals. It's still at only 20% of the total power it can put out. So I really think that's worth checking out, because that means it's going to run cool. It fits perfectly in between the rails on the and with the mounts. It comes with mounts. It fits perfectly under the pedal board, and just made my life totally easier, and had a beautiful mount to it. And now it's super sturdy in there. Not worried about it falling. I don't have to Velcro nothing. It's not going to move at all. So that makes my life totally easier, along with having everything still. Nothing's really zip tied down to the point where I can't just change it on the fly, but everything's still zip tied down, But yeah, so with a rig like this, you can literally, any instrument you want to run through this, I could, get a great sound. You run a trumpet or a saxophone through this rig, and you're going to come out with some nasty sounds. You know what I'm saying? And not just from the Mercury X and the Enzo X. Like, you talking about the Mel 9 and Key 9, and these electro-harmonics pedals track amazing. Like, they track amazingly. Like, I've never had any problems with electro-harmonics tracking. Their tracking since 10 years ago has been amazing. So the Mel 9, Key 9, the Ravis Sitar, V256, all those track literally perfectly. Like, unless you do some weird stuff or you put in some incorrect, distorted signal, it don't like distorted signals too much tracking wise, except for the V256 loves distorted. it actually brings out a lot of the characteristics of the vocoder. But yeah, so this is a great starting place if you want to get into having a rig that's flexible. Get you a Mercury X, it's going to, and Enzo X, get you something like that, and it's going to give you some flexibility. And a future Impact V4 VIP will give you additional flexibility of having that key bass, a real vintage style key bass rig, while the Enzo X is going to give you a modern mono bass bass synths, while it'll give you the modern pads and ARP sounds as well. So I think all of these pedals, everything on here, I would recommend. Like I said, the Canvas Power 15, I'm thoroughly impressed with. The Canvas Stereo Line Isolated DI, I'm also very impressed with. It ain't no point in having all these pedals with great sound quality and all that stuff, like that sound quality, and have a crappy DI or line isolator, so get you something of a quality one. I can recommend this Canvas one, sounds so great. Lets my sound come through really pristine. So, you do all that work to put something together like this and spent all this money to buy all these pedals and stuff. You want that sound to come through. Go on, spend a couple extra $100 and get you a nice line isolator or DI. I prefer something that's both. I can use this in DI mode or line isolator mode. Line isolator mode Means I don't have to use as much gain when I'm using like my ToneX ones. I don't have to push the volume so much, so it keeps my signal cleaner and quieter while still giving me more volume, at the same time. So that's how I would describe, or keeping my the line level at line level going to the board, so I don't have to try to compensate with gain or match the volume on there, which creates noise. So, all right, the best thing, the other thing you could do is that to get that MIDI captain, get you a MIDI captain. I mean, it's or something like that. If you get a MIDI captain, get the rechargeable batteries to go with it, and you want to power it with the rechargeable batteries and a power source. That will make it the most stable and mean you won't have it glitching out on you, when you're saving presets and stuff. If you use just the USB or just the 9-volt input by itself, you're going to have some glitches in there. So get you some rechargeable batteries if you're going to use a MIDI captain. But the other benefit is, like here, you see I have this USB cable here. Normally it's in the MIDI captain here, and when it's on the board, if I don't need to take it off, it just stays charging. If I need to take it off, I don't have to take the power plug with me. I already have the rechargeable batteries. All I got to do is make sure that the MIDI cable runs to it. And after a while, I won't even need that because I'm going to switch to, the Bluetooth MIDI, setup. So I'm also going to get that option for the H4 MIDI Pro. And then I'll have wireless MIDI pretty much available to me to the MIDI captain. Then when I don't want to use the USB port right here, I just take it off the board, place it where I would like to place it, and I don't have to worry about having a MIDI cable. So there's ways around all this stuff too. And it still control all my boards and all that stuff. And I might do that for the keyboard, but I don't know. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys hanging out with me. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Those of you that have been hanging out with me, on these various lives, thank you. People that's been supporting me on the Patreon, super thank you. I appreciate all of you guys, whether you bought presets or signed up just, on a subscription basis. I definitely appreciate all you guys, man. You guys are the reason why I keep getting on here, because you guys keep showing up. You keep showing up. I'll do my best to keep showing up too. So, that's all I'm going to do for now. If you want to check out my music, allbasscreations.bandcamp. Again, check out the Patreon for presets for all various pedals that you see. I will be coming out with a Mercury X pack. So if you have a Mercury X and you want some of these presets the original presets I was showing you, those will be available. And I'm coming out with all new preset packs for the ToneX One, especially because they got, the version 2 now. So I'm going to redo all the packs and that I can. Some gear actually sold because the ToneX One handled it so well. So I'll leave those packs up, but all the other packs that I can redo, I will. And those new ones will be up, and as well as the combination packs between the JHS Color Box V2 and various other preamp pedals like Color Box plus Ampeg SGD, Color Box plus Aguilar AG, Color Box plus the Jens Benz Shuttle 9, and so forth and so on, all in one preset pack. So stay tuned for all that stuff, and just sign up on the Patreon when you get a chance. And if you want to leave a super chat, cash out, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Shout out to Neo Lover 23 for the cash app. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you watching my ToneX videos. You guys are the reason why I was able to link up with ToneX. ToneX reached out to me, and not ToneX, IK Multimedia, and that's why I have this signature bass collection. So I am an affiliate with them. So if you want to help out the channel, you can buy a ToneX one, or somebody else, you know, recommend that they buy it through the links in my video descriptions. But yeah, you guys are the reason why I got linked up with IK Multimedia in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys kept watching those videos, you kept supporting those videos, I kept making them. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all, what y'all gotta understand is I'm trying to, just like y'all, you want to see results from your work, I do too. So when I see a particular trend, you know, like if I see you guys like a particular video, I'll try to make more videos similar to that, so you guys can, you know, okay, it must be more people interested in the ToneX one. Let me keep going, and, you know, and then that's how you get those really deep dive series of videos I do, because you guys give me feedback a lot of times, and I appreciate that. Well, if you're getting, are you getting boominess on patches that you're making on the ToneX, or are you getting boominess on like ones you've downloaded from the ToneNet? Because the ToneNet, a lot of times when people are EQing their bass stuff, they're adding too much bass to the EQ when they're making the presets in the first place. You know, you can't forget to have enough. It's you need to when you're creating presets, you gotta have clarity in there. So like clarity comes from the mid range. So if you have boominess on many of your patches, you probably are boosting your bass a bit too much on your bass. You know, try not boosting your bass, the bass frequencies on your bass so much. You know, if you have an active EQ. If you don't have an active EQ, you may need an EQ. You may have to keep that EQ pedal. Do you have the default? You have the signature bass collection? Is that the pedal you have? You got the big silver pedal or the big black ToneX pedal? So you got the signature bass collection, okay? Um, yeah, that's just how they made those patches. It's not. Now, what you can do, if you go into the software with that, go into the software and turn down, what's that parameter? It's the one next to presence. It's so you'll have like the mix knob. It's like the you're gonna make me open this. I hope this doesn't matter of fact, I hope this doesn't make me glitch out, but for the sake of hoping, give me 1 second. Yeah, the depth. Yes, turn the depth down. That's gonna bring your sub frequencies down on there. Yeah. So bring that down, as well as if you go to the frequency knob on the bass frequency, turn that all the way down to 75, or you can set it to 100 if you're having the problems at 100 and below. And then that EQ that's built into the pedal will shelve everything 100 and below down. You feel me? So that's one way. Then you can go in the mid, go to the mid EQ section and frequency. Change that. What is it? The slope. Let me just open this app so I can give you the right parameters real quick. I'm gonna do this before I get out of here. I want to make sure you're good. Get out of here. I don't care. I don't care. So let me see. Okay, so we got. Here we go. All right, so if you go to the mid frequency, put my mid frequency around 1,000 to 1,200, and then I set the, the, the wider that I set that the mid Q around 40. That's a good portion of a nice wide portion of the EQ. Then for mids, also house and I need it to boost treble as well. And I off like I don't even use the cabs, to be honest. I use custom IRs. I use most of the time. I'm actually my ToneX ones have set to bypass all the speaker cabinets globally. I always do that because I'm running into a speaker cabinet a lot of times, and I don't need that sound. I like the sounds. Yeah, I think I had opened the software. Sorry guys, hopefully it wasn't glitching too bad there. Well, what I recommend the patches on there, the patches that I recommend on there would be like the use the just the preamp ones. Like don't use the full amp models. Oh. Is this better? Somebody let me know. Can you hear me? All right. So all I was saying was the stock ones I would use just the amp models. Like try using just the amp models pretty much, and I turn off the speaker the cabinet simulations off and the IRs off globally. So on the pedal, if you on the ToneX one pedal itself, let me switch back to here. All right, good, good. So if you go, so say you're on one of the things like this, if you hold down this, the gain, this little alternate button here, we're gonna hold it down. You see it flash, keep holding it, and then bam, you'll be in like this little global setting here. And normally when this middle one is green, that means the cabinets and the IRs are on. I turn them off globally where this is middle one is red in this menu, and that also helps out a lot. Like that keeps I don't really need the cabinet sims. If I'm running to the house, I don't mind the DI sound of I prefer the DI sound of an amp or a preamp versus an entire a mic'd up cabinet. It just the mic'd up cabinet just filters out certain frequencies and boosts certain frequencies. You know what I'm saying? But if you most of the tone stuff is coming from the amp models, the actual amp itself, the preamp itself, rather. So I turn that off and I just let it be. I just let it be pretty much like having my color box running to, if I'm using certain settings, color box and the Ampeg SGT, that combination running into the house. You know what I'm saying? Or with my Mercury X, I have it running into the compressor and some other things that make it sound like a studio. I use the Mercury X like a studio rack in that case. But with the ToneX ones, if you got my preset packs, you wouldn't have that problem. And so, I only a certain amount of I always recommend the signature bass collection because you get so much with it, versus as a bass player. Like you get the 4 pieces of software that goes with it, and you get one of those is amplitude, and you get you get all the Ampeg amps in amplitude as well, which normally sold separately. So they giving you a nice deal with the joint. But for live purposes, if you have your own preamps that you like the sound of, I would recommend making your own tone models with those, and with your exact settings, and then from there, see what you like. No, in bass, you don't actually need a cab sim. Like, you don't actually need that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, major studios don't use cab simulations. They don't use IRs. They don't use speaker IRs at all. Like, they don't really need to, not for bass. For me, the studio tone is going to be about the same as my live tone, to be honest. Like, you ultimately, you're trying to get your actual tone to translate out to a system or out to the mixing board in a mixing console in a studio. So everything is just geared towards getting your actual sound to be consistent no matter where you are. I don't want my bass or my tone to sound different in the studio than it does live. Like, I want them to sound the same, ideally. Does that always happen? No, because the rooms change. I might have to EQ slightly different, but I'm only EQing to get that tone to be the same as I always wanted. That's what I EQ for. I EQ to keep my tone the same a lot of times in different rooms. But with my presets like this, I make them so they don't. You don't need as much bass in your signal as you think you do. A lot of times. Well, that's just I personally like I like the sound of a preamp personally. Like, even though my bass has a built-in preamp, technically my bass has a Aguilar OP3, which is really just a tone hammer EQ section put into the bass. So it's pretty much just like a tone hammer in the bass without EQ wise, no distortion or nothing like, or overdrive or nothing like that. But that, I've run. That's why I run my preamps now, like, because even if it's just a JHS Color Box V2, which doesn't color your sound too much, but does add some firmness. I like to have some other preamp, my Aguilar AG, SGT or something. You can give me something. That's, try to have something, and I would recommend the ToneX for that. Like, I would say check out the SVT CL is one of my favorites on the signature bass collection. Like this is the amp only joint. So when you go on the search, click on just the amp head little thing to filter out like all the other settings, and then click on like V2, so you get only the newer V2 settings, and then you should get in your signature, click on signature bass collection, and then all the amp models, just the amp heads and preamps should come up from there. But I like the Ampeg, that SVT-CL. I like the Mark Bass Big Bang the most. Like the Mark Bass Big Bang is, it's a little bassy, but you just bring some of those, either the depths down or like I said, set the bass frequency knob up and bring the bass down a little there. If you want less saturation or less overdriven sound, bring the gain down, bring the master volume up, because ToneX responds to gain very well. So if it's more gain, it's going to give you a more saturation, more overdrive. If it's less gain and you got more master volume, it's going to give you as clean of a tone as that tone model can give you. So that's something else to check out. Yeah, I mean, the big ToneX is crazy, man. Like, it's stereo in and out. It's got MIDI in and out. You know, that would be my only thing. You know, I may at some point go up to a bigger ToneX myself, just because it does have MIDI in and out, and that would make my life a lot easier. And it's one pedal with stereo, you know, but you know, I got these at different times, so it just made sense to just grab to get another one, you know. So I do like to take my ToneX one to gigs by themselves. So sometimes I'll just take this off the board, or just take just one ToneX one with me, and I'll use that for the whole gig. And people always ask about, like, what is that? That ain't killing. I always get compliments on the ToneX one sounds, but I'm also using my own presets that are available on Patreon, some of them now, you know what I'm saying? But just give me a week or so, and the brand new preset packs will be up. They're not going to be $1 million. They'll be broken down into small enough segments where, you know, you could spend 30, 40, 50 bucks and have a ton of different types of preamps, you know what I'm saying, that are probably going to be a little bit more to your liking. I'm not going to lie. I have all of their bass stuff, and I love it. I love their bass amps. Like I said, I love that Mark bass. They sound all those sound like the amps. You know, all those are actual tone models from the amps. It's just, you know, if you want a little less bottom to them, you're going to have to roll that depth off or roll some of that bass off, and that'll have them a little bit more clear for you. Yeah, you'll be able to just give them another try, and you know, I would say, like, check out those and that Aguilar DB751, I believe it is another good amp in there. But like I said, you can't use it with if you don't like the sound of the whole rigs, which sounds like what's happening with you. Try just using the amps and the preamps. It will definitely, I think it will definitely change your mind. I'm not even gonna lie, it'll definitely change your mind. Yeah, the Mark Bass Big Bang is actually Mark Bass tube amp, so it's got a nice amount of saturation to it, and the Aguilar one is a tube amp as well. So, you know, but yeah. So other than that, all right, I got to get out of here. I definitely appreciate you hanging with me. You know, make sure you hit the like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the ToneX one and the ToneX pedals in the description. You know, it helps out the channel a lot. And check out the Patreon for all the presets and different things like that. But I definitely appreciate y'all hanging with me. I'll catch you guys a little bit later. I'll probably be back. Well, I can't be back today. I got to go teach later on, but I'll be back sometime tomorrow, morning, afternoon. So make sure you hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. No problem, bro. Yeah, I go live all the time. Just hit that notification bell and subscribe. I'll be back probably tomorrow morning somewhere around 9 or